We live in this world where practically everything gets shared. Your morning coffee, your big wins, even your tough moments. But there's this really fascinating group of people who are completely invisible online. They're there, scrolling and observing, but they never ever post. So, that's the big mystery we're diving into. Why do some people choose to stay silent when the whole world is basically shouting for attention?
This is the big question, isn't it? I bet you know someone just like this. Hey, maybe you are that person. It's a super common thing, but we almost never stop to actually dig into the deep psychology behind it.
Now, the easy answer is just to label them, right? Oh, they're just shy or introverted or maybe even a little antisocial. But that's barely scratching the surface. The real answer, as we're about to see, is this fascinating mix of control, a deep need for authenticity, and honestly, a powerful instinct to protect themselves.
Okay, so let's jump into our first big idea, controlling the narrative. The key thing to get here is that for a lot of these folks, choosing silence isn't some passive act. It's actually an act of power. It's a quiet rebellion, where you get to decide what parts of you the world doesn't get to see.
I mean, just think about it. So much of what we post online has become a kind of performance. The source material for this explainer calls it an unconscious audition for belonging, which is brilliant. Every photo, every witty caption is a way of crafting an identity that's essentially asking the world, "This is me. Do you like it? Do I fit in?"
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. People who don't post are often way less concerned with proving their identity to some online audience. Their focus is turned inward. They're more driven by trying to figure themselves out, and they're not as swayed by comparing themselves to others. It's about understanding, not performing.
All right, let's move on to our second big idea, which builds on that perfectly, guarding your experiences. This is all about the conscious choice to keep certain moments private, to protect their value and to hold on to your own authenticity in a world that can feel incredibly staged.
So there's actually a formal psychological term for this feeling. It's called psychological ownership. It's that deep down sense that a memory or a moment or an idea is truly intimately yours. It's this feeling of possession over the things in your life that you can't even touch.
And this explains exactly what happens the second you hit post. That personal sense of ownership just starts to dissolve. The moment isn't just yours anymore. It becomes shared property, and now it's out there, totally open to being judged, misinterpreted, and commented on by everyone. By not posting, people are basically protecting that pure, untouchable ownership of their own lives. For a lot of people, this silence isn't where they started. It's actually the end of a long, exhausting journey, a burnout. It often starts with them sharing everything, but then they start to feel that pressure to keep it up, to top the last post. And pretty soon, they're not really living their lives anymore. They're just performing for an audience. And the final step, they just quietly fade away from the feed.
And this brings us to such a critical point, the internal mindset. It all boils down to a fundamental question. Where are you getting your sense of self-worth? Is it coming from the outside world, or is it coming from within?
And that leads us to another key psychological concept, having an internal locus of control. This is basically the belief that your own happiness, your own value, is generated internally. You don't need the applause from the outside world or digital likes to feel like you're worthy.
This chart breaks it down so perfectly. On one side, you have that whole dopamine-driven cycle of chasing validation through likes and shares. And on the other side, you have a search for internal understanding that leads to real emotional stability and independence. People with a strong internal locus of control are pretty much immune to that addictive validation game of social media. But let's be totally clear, it's not always a choice that comes from a place of strength or peace. For some people, staying silent is actually a defense mechanism. It's driven by a very real fear that psychologists call self-presentational pressure. It's that exhausting, constant feeling of being watched and judged, which can make posting feel way too risky. It's that feeling of agonizing over a single caption for an hour, worrying about how every single person is going to take it. So let's pull all these ideas together for our final and maybe the most powerful theme, the power of being unseen. Because when you actually step away from the constant performance, you realize something really profound. True identity isn't something you perform for an audience. It's something that's formed in the quiet moments when nobody's watching. So what do you actually get back in that quiet space? Well, the benefits are very real. You stop chasing all these digital connections, and you start building deeper, real-world ones. You get your freedom back from that pressure to perform. You develop a stronger sense of who you are. And maybe most importantly, you rediscover what it feels like to be truly present in your own life.
I absolutely love how the source material frames this. Choosing silence isn't about withdrawing from the world. In so many ways, it's actually a homecoming. It's about returning to yourself and reconnecting with all the parts of you that kind of got lost in all that online noise.
This quote, man, it just gets to the very heart of it all. We've somehow been conditioned to believe that visibility equals value, that for something to matter, other people have to see it. But real, true meaning doesn't need an audience. Your most important moments often happen quietly, with no witnesses at all.
This is the big question that our culture is constantly throwing at us, right? It's this challenge to our modern obsession with documenting every single thing we experience. But the people who don't post, they offer a quiet, confident answer to this question.
Because the truth is, the experiences that really truly shape who you are, your growth, your private victories, your heartbreaks, they rarely make it to the feed. Their home isn't in your photo gallery, it's in your memory. And maybe that's exactly where they belong.